Welcome crafters and makers. Today I'm doing a video as requested by yourselves. I'm going to show you my vintage New Home 605 sewing machine. I'll show you how I thread, wind the bobbin and use my sewing machine. When I was asked to do this video, I was happy to oblige because I actually genuinely love this machine. I picked it up at an auction a few years ago, and after getting it serviced, it's become my absolute favorite, better than any modern machine I've ever owned. This machine was made in the 1970s and it's all metal, super solid. It has a beautiful stitch quality, surprisingly quiet, and it handles thick fabrics like a champ. Plus it comes with these pattern cams that let you do decorative stitching. I'll show you some examples later in the video. One of the first things you'll need to do before sewing is to wind a bobbin with thread. The machine comes with an extension plate which you will need to remove before we continue. This particular machine uses a side-loading bobbin and should come with metal rather than plastic bobbins. You access the bobbin and shuttle behind the shuttle cover here. Before we start any threading or bobbin winding, you will want to raise the presser foot using the latch on the back of the machine. You need to raise your needle to its highest point by turning the balance wheel towards you. Now use the little latch on the shuttle to pull it out, and if you then tip the shuttle, the bobbin will slide out. You will need an empty bobbin if you're wanting to wind it for a new project. To wind the bobbin, place your thread on the spool at the back of the machine. Pass the thread through the thread guides as shown. Then place your bobbin on the bobbin winder spindle and press it towards the back of the machine. This engages the bobbin spindle. Pass the thread through one of the top holes and keep a hold of it. Making sure your machine is plugged in, you will now lightly press on the foot control, which will start to spin the bobbin. Don't go fast, only use light pressure like driving a car slowly. Your thread should now start to fill the bobbin. You want it to fill the bobbin evenly, so if you notice it's filling up more at the top or bottom, just use your fingers to gently guide the thread up and down to fill the bobbin evenly. When your bobbin is almost full, take your foot off the foot control and pull it towards you to release and remove. Now insert the bobbin back into the shuttle with the thread going clockwise. Guide the thread into the slot of the case and under the tension spring. Hold the latch of the shuttle, which will keep the bobbin in place, and making sure again that your needle is raised to its highest point, place the shuttle back inside with this little notch pointing upwards. You will feel that it catches when placed in correctly. With the end of your thread inside, close the shuttle cover. Now to thread the machine. Run the thread through the thread guides as before. Then pass the thread between the tension discs. Then when you bring the thread back up on the other side, add tension with your free hand, and as you lift the thread, it will catch the little tension bar. Take the thread up and through the take up lever hole, then back down and behind the space plate thread guide. Run the thread behind the needle thread guide and finally through the eye of the needle. Draw a few inches of thread through the needle and taking it under the pressure foot, hold it to the back of the machine. Now you need to draw up the lower bobbin thread. So hold the end of the thread with your left hand. Turn the balance wheel towards you, dropping the needle down, and then keep turning until the needle goes back up to its highest point, and you can feel that as you draw the thread upwards, it no longer feels stuck, and it will automatically lift up the bobbin thread. Pull both ends of the threads under the presser foot and away from you to the back of the machine. You're now ready to start stitching. So let's start with a straight stitch. We'll use this dial here to ensure we're on the right settings. If you turn this all the way to the off marking, the cam compartment lid will open. Make sure you have the black cam marked 0 in place and close the lid again. Turn the front dial with the letter S at the top and the back dial on straight. This dial on the right sets your stitch length, whereas these dials set the zigzag width. So for straight stitching, move them back to the lowest number. This knob here raises and lowers the feed teeth, which feeds the fabric under the machine. And for most projects, I use it on a 2, but for lighter fabrics, you might want to turn it to a 1. Find some fabric with which you can test your stitching first. I always like to use 2 pieces on top of one another, as that's mostly how you'll be sewing seams. Place your fabric under the presser foot and check the position of the needle is where you want your stitch line to be. Lower the presser foot and keep a hold of the threads at the back of the machine with your left hand firmly. Gently press down on the foot control and use your right hand to very gently guide but not push or pull from the fabric. As you start to sew, you can release the threads as they should now be secure. So keep stitching until you reach the end of where you are sewing. Release your foot from the foot presser, raise the needle, raise the presser foot to release the fabric, and then either use scissors or this little thread cutter on the thread bar to cut your threads. Check your tension on both sides of the fabric. Take a moment to also practice guiding your fabric in different directions for curves. You can see here how I use my hands to gently swivel the fabric. If you're going to hem a garment or trousers with a straight stitch, you'd simply turn up the raw edge to make a double fold and then stitch along that fold as shown here. The machine booklet will show you all the settings for different stitches. So let's take a look at doing a zigzag stitch next. For a zigzag stitch, you need to check that your foot plate has the wider opening at the front. I always sew all my stitches this way anyway, but you can turn your foot plate by using this lever behind the shuttle cover and turning it around if you need to. Now turn the back dial to have the letter L at the top and the front dial still with an S on top. This time you can use these knobs and lever to move to a higher number, which gives you a wider stitch. Here you can see how the different settings affect the stitch length and width. Now for a bit of fun. Here's how to use the pattern cams. Some of the cams are for a twin needle only, so I'm going to just select one that can be used with a single needle. You will need to turn the front dial to off to open the cam lid, and then replace the zigzag cam with the pattern cam you want to use. For this cam, the book shows me I simply use the same settings as a zigzag stitch, but with a shorter stitch length. These are really fun to play with for decorative edging, and in the autumn, I will be releasing a pattern I used to make beautiful aprons as Christmas presents last year, using some of my decorative stitches to embroider the apron. So make sure to like this video and subscribe so that you don't miss out on that video when it's ready. So if you've got a new home 605 or you're thinking about getting one, hopefully this helps. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. The New Home 605 was part of a series of durable all-metal sewing machines made in Japan in the 1970s, often rebranded under various names like Janome, which later brought out the New Home brand. These machines are prized today for their precision engineering, simplicity and ability to sew heavy fabrics reliably. The cam-driven decorative stitches were really cutting edge for home sewers at the time.